What's up YouTube? Welcome back to the channel from the engine bay of my Land Cruiser 100 series. Now, as most of you already know, I've always wanted a second battery in the Land Cruiser just to run all the auxiliary items such as the lights, the air pump, and all that stuff. If you've been watching my videos, you already know that I have the air tank, a small air tank, where the second battery is supposed to be. Now on top of that, I also have the air hose connect mounted onto the tank directly. So before we put the second battery in, I will need to remove the air tank and find a place for the air hose coupler. So first, let's take this guy out. So in my current setup that I've been using on the Land Cruiser, you see I have a fitting that goes right where the pump is, goes into the air tank, and on top of the air tank I have the coupler for the air hose. Now if I connect the coupler directly to the pump, that will fit. The threads are the same, they're 1/4 inch NPT. However, it will hit directly where the battery is supposed to sit, which is right here. So that's not going to work. We're going to have to relocate the coupler to, I'm thinking, right here on the back of the pump, between the pump and the air box. So after a lot of thinking and trial and error, this is what I've come up with. These are the parts that you'll need. I've tried to keep it as simple as possible with the least amount of parts, least amount of money spent. First of all, you've got obviously the air hose itself. This is a 1/4 inch NPT male adapter from Viair. You've also got these little brass fitting, 90 degrees. Now this one is a female connector end, and I've also got the female and male end. The most tricky part that you'll need is the bracket to hold the actual coupler itself. Now this guy started life as a piece from Home Depot, which I then cut to fit the sleeve bracket, and also grind it down just so it looks nice. But I'll have a picture of what it looked like before. These are the parts that you'll need for the install. Now, as usual, if you want to copy this setup, which I think is probably one of the most simplest, inexpensive setups that you can do, I will have a list of all the parts listed and where you can buy them in the description down below, so make sure you go ahead and check that out. So first of all, you'll need to get your air hose quick coupler. Mine came off of my air tank because I've been using it. If you don't have one, it comes available in the ARB Air Up kit, which includes this guy, the hose, and a couple other fittings for the tire, which is actually really great. I'll list that in the description down below also. But let's put some Teflon tape on these threads to make sure that it does not leak. So now once you've got the Teflon tape on the coupler itself, you want to put it through the bracket that you just made, like so, and it fits perfectly in the hole that Home Depot cut out for us, which is a bonus. And then we want to use a female to female 90-degree brass elbow and screw it on the bottom. So before you tighten this guy all the way down, you want to make sure the elbow is facing the direction that you want to. For me, it looks like it should be facing the engine side, and we should be okay. So let's tighten it down. Feels pretty tight. Spin it a little bit to get it facing the right direction. I think that should almost do it. It's almost perfect. And as you can see, this guy sits on there pretty sturdy. Now time to fit it on the car. So this is my compressor right here. This is the back of the sleeve bracket, and this is the mounting bracket that I made. It's gonna go right here. So I'm gonna use this hole, and also this one, which already has a bolt in it. So I'm gonna find 2 more 10 mil bolts with washers, take off this one, and bolt everything together. So I found these extra bolts and washers that should work perfect for 2 locations that we need to put them in, and they look like they match pretty good with the ARB bolt. I think these came with the air up kit, so that's probably why they match really good, but let's put it in. So now with the adapter that I made all tight and ready to go, you can see the elbow from right here actually faces this way, which is where the air hose is going to wrap around and go back into the compressor. So next is let's put the coupler in on the air pump side. So on the pump side, you want to use the male-female 90-degree fitting. So what happens is one end of the hose goes in here like this, and the other end of the fitting goes into the air compressor. But first of all, let's put some Teflon on there. So the reason why we use Teflon tape is just so that it fills in all the imperfections of the brass fitting, ensuring a leak-free connection. There we go. That should be pretty tight right there. You also don't want to over tighten these guys just in case they split the pump or the fitting or whatever you're trying to tighten it on. It's probably best to do it snug tight and maybe an eighth of a turn more. So I wanted to show you guys something real quick. On the Vi-Air air hose, it looks like they already put a little bit of Teflon on the threads, so we do not need to do that. However, one important thing is that only one end has the swivel fitting. See this guy right here? That's I don't know if you can see that, but it says swivel fitting on this side, and this one actually turns. So this one does not turn. What you want to do is install this guy first, so that way you can turn the hose and tighten it, and then afterwards do the swivel fitting second. So on this side, which is a little bit harder to get a wrench into, I want to use the non-swivel fitting. That way I can just turn the entire hose. Let's get this guy in first. There we go. And then next we gotta do the other side into the air pump. Now this is the second side into the air pump. Since we have the swivel fitting on here, we can basically put it in and turn the fitting itself. You don't have to turn the entire hose. I think Vi-Air cheaped out a little bit, was just giving us one swivel fitting, but it's okay. So of course make sure, again, don't over tighten these. You only want them snug, and then maybe an extra eighth to a quarter of a turn. These air hoses can be kind of tricky. If you over tighten them, they tend to leak, but so as long as it's not too tight, you should be okay. That should probably do it. Okay, so here is the finished product. As you can see, this is the coupler that I mounted in between the airbox and the sleeve bracket, and it's pretty sturdy. For putting in the air hose and removing it, it should be fine. We've got the fitting, the 90-degree fitting, 1/4 inch NPT right here, mounted to the Vi-Air air hose. And then back here, of course, we've got the swivel fitting for the via air hose on this side, and we have the 90-degree brass fitting that goes directly into the pump. And now you can see this area is clear and ready for the second battery, which I will be doing in a future installment. Now let's check if it leaks. Second click. It's the ABS thing buzzing away. The pump right now is on. There's no tank attached. If there is an air leak, the pump will kick back in right away. And so far, it's been, what, 30 seconds or so? And I don't hear the pump come back on, nor do I hear any type of air leak. The fan, however, is on the air pump, because whenever you turn on the switch, the fan turns on to cool it, so it's an internal fan. You can feel a little bit of the air right here. But seems like there's no leaks. One quick word of caution: I've had stainless lines on my other cars a lot, and because this is so close to the power steering reservoir, I might want to put a little bit of electrical tape around this end that actually hits. I don't want it to cut through the reservoir and have it leaking on the trail, because it's probably going to bounce around and all that stuff. So quick tip: a little bit of electrical tape right around where it touches, where it possibly could touch, and you should be okay. And that is it. Now for this specific install, I didn't have to use the other two 90-degree copper fittings because I only needed one of each. However, these guys came in pairs, but they're fairly cheap. It wasn't a big deal. Now in your setup, depending on how you have the compressor mounted, how far away the coupler is, or whatever type of car you have, whether it be a 4Runner, a Jeep, or whatever, you might actually need the other two fittings in a different length of hose. So make sure you measure twice and buy once. So the next step for me will be installing the second battery in this location now that it's free, and wire up the isolator that I got. That's going to be for the next video. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button, and for more Land Cruiser and Overland content, don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching.